welcome to the Hesitant Homesteader. I'm Joanna, this is Chuck.
And I'm Jenna, and this is Ben and Pierce. We want to take you today through our gardens and just show you around. We've had a really good time lately watching several of the YouTubers show us their spaces and their gardens that they've created, and we thought that it was time that we show you ours.
Yeah, and we both have pretty different gardens, so hopefully you can get some different ideas from each of ours. Hi there, are you ready for our garden tour? So we already had quite a few of these plants here already, and I just wanted to add two, I guess. So some flowers that I've always just really enjoyed are cone flowers or echinacea. So I have those growing back here at the front of the porch. So my absolute favorite flower is probably hollyhocks, and I've talked forever about getting some. Last year I planted some from seed and they didn't come up very much, and I thought, oh gosh, I wonder when I'm going to see the results. And so this summer when they started popping, I was super excited. I was also surprised that there was this many colors. I had no idea what I planted. I didn't even remember. So yeah, there's probably 6 different colors. I love them. I was just talking to Chuck's mom, my mother-in-law, who said that she had hollyhocks growing up and has good memories of them. Okay, so last season I grabbed a bag of wildflowers from the store. They were cheap. And I thought, hey, we need to do something with the fence row and all the weeds because we're tired of pulling the weeds. And so I wasn't sure how well this would go. And I'm pleasantly surprised how well they have come up. They look amazing. I'm super excited about them.
Hey guys, I'm going to take over the tour from here and I can show you the vegetable portion of it. And so if you've watched any of our previous videos, you will remember that this was the lasagna garden that we started out with, which then like 3/4 into the year, I converted it into a no-dig or a no-till garden. And so this is our first garden, so it's fairly small, but we did that intentionally just to kind of get our feet wet. And I've got plenty of yard space that I can put more beds in. So these, I've got 4 beds that are 15 feet long and 3 feet wide. And we cover them with cardboard and newspaper, and then on top of that we brought in a little bit of topsoil and compost. This first row is all cherry tomatoes, and a little fun thing we did for our garden markers, instead of doing like signs, I went ahead and painted just whatever the vegetables were. I don't know why, I was bored in wintertime and I thought it'd be kind of fun to do something. So this is our cherry tomatoes. And moving over here, this row here was really my disappointment. These are bush beans. And then this was going to all be sugar snap peas because we just love eating those and they're expensive to buy at the store. I think the problem is I did these as a transplant. I started them inside and they loved it under the grow lights. I did it about 5 weeks before our frost-free date, which was pretty much Mother's Day weekend. I think what the mistake was is doing that because Jenna and Ben said that they had the same issue the year before, but this year they direct seeded them and there was no problems. So there's a couple down there that maybe we'll salvage, but chances are I'm going to just see what else I can plant in this area so I don't waste the space. Alright, so then this row here, we've done some peppers. I believe these are all green pepper, like bell peppers. This one might be a jalapeno, but I don't know. I've got it covered. I've got both of them on there. And then the trellis we put in has got cucumbers. I've got 2 different kinds. This is like a munching kind, like you'd get at the store, because those are expensive and the kids eat them like by the bag full. So did that. And then this is for actually making pickles. I can definitely see that I would need to do a ton more of these. So in the future, I'll probably just dedicate like a whole row. And I'll probably take this trellis and I want to do some that are just vertical and kind of go linear with them to maximize the space. This is fun, and I'll probably leave it because I'd like to see if it can, you know, get all totally covered. But just for functionality, I just need more trellis area. Cauliflower, and then this is our summer squash here. But everything seems to be doing pretty good. We haven't done anything, it's all natural. I'll probably start coming out with, you know, like an insecticidal soap if we need it. So here, and I know I might get comments, I'm gonna get yelled at, and I admit I dropped the ball. These are all Brandywine tomatoes. I didn't get the stakes put in. I should have done it about 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago. So they're kind of starting to sprawl a little bit instead of going vertical if I had staked them. I have the stakes and I've got the twine to rope them up. So I'm hoping that it's not too late, that I can still catch them at this stage and get them trained to come up, because they're indeterminate. And I guess if you just let those go, they can go 6, 7, 8 feet or more. So we'll see. Over here, this is our asparagus bed. We did this like right when we moved in to get that established. Really, it's past the picking time now, so we're just letting this kind of grow out and let these fronds grow and send nutrients down into the roots for next year, and then we'll cut this down in the fall. I'll definitely plan on tripling the size of this, because we didn't even cook any of it. Every time we were out here, our family would just constantly snap off the new asparagus and eat it right out of the bed, which was so good. But I'd like to pickle some and freeze some and actually grill it. So this is our biggest bed, and this was here from the previous owners, and it was just covered with weeds, and the soil that was in here wasn't really great either, and we just never knew what to do with it. So this year we decided we were going to do that no dig method over here, and so we mowed all the weeds down early in the season with the mower. We went to the recycling center and just put down really thick sections of cardboard. And then over top of that, we did about 4 inches of really nice organic compost that we had picked up. We did probably 5 truckloads. And so it's done really well. There's definitely been some weed growth, but I will honestly say that most of the weed growth is where I didn't overlap the cardboard. But it's been very easy to maintain. So in this area, because it's so big, I put stuff that would sprawl out. So I've got rows here. This is watermelon. These are gorgeous here. These huge leaves. This is, I don't know the variety, but it's like a jumbo squash. These squash, they say, can get up to like 75 pounds at a maximum. And it says that they will store exceptionally well, like in a root cellar. So my thought is I want to grow huge squash and put them in our basement, and then in the wintertime I can like hack off big sections of them and split them open and put them in our chicken area and let the hens peck the seeds out and just eat that, and it's really good for them, I understand. And so I just kind of repeated rows of watermelon, the squash, and then down here is cantaloupe. This is actually a variety, they said that's the only true cantaloupe. It's not a muskmelon. And so I got all of these seeds, I think they were from Peaceful Valley, and it's all organic and heirloom seeds. So that's this area. And another thing I'll say that you'll probably put comments in, and it's true, there's a ton of wasted space in here. And we're just learning, and so one of the things that I know that we need to do is interplant. Like there's things that I could have put in here that we could have grown and harvested before the squash and the vining plants take over. So I can see, I'm already getting ideas of what to do better next time, and it's really fun with gardening. Back here, real quick, this is our grapevine. This was here when we moved in. I think it's a Concord grape. It's wonderful. You can tell by how thick and old this area is. This has just been here for a long time. This was an old farm, very old. And I totally hacked this back because it was just crazy and we never trimmed it. And I watched some videos on what you should do, and I did that, and then I thought I killed it. But lo and behold, everything's coming back and it's gonna start trailing up around here again. But when this has grapes, it's such beautiful big purple clusters. And one of my favorite memories when we moved in here in the summertime, this was all fruited out and it was hot like it is today, and you could just get close to this and you just smelled like the most intense, beautiful grape fragrance, and it was just awesome. So just getting the warm grapes, plucking them off here and eating them was great. And then last year or the year before, we had a huge harvest, and we hooked up with Jenna and Ben and we canned a bunch of grape juice, and it was delicious. So I'd like to do more grapes. I've got some more lumber from the old chicken coop that was already painted white like this, and I saved it, and I'd like to double the length of this and plant two more of these plants. Back here is our strawberry bed. These are not railroad ties, in case you're wondering. These are actually old hardwood barn beams that we salvaged, and we did a bunch of, we started this out with dry rooted, bare root strawberry plants, and it's done pretty well. We need to maintain it more. We didn't really do it correctly last year. We should have cut it down and actually put straw over it, and I think thinned it. So this is something we're gonna have to learn with the strawberries. And over here, since we're here, this little dude right here in this, if you don't know what this is, if you don't have it in your area, you're blessed. This is yarrow, and there's just been huge sections of this I've been fighting with, because it spreads not only by seeds if it goes to a seed head, but it goes underground in like little nodules, almost like a strawberry plant. It sends out runners underground and it just goes. So there's huge sections, like you can kind of see over here. I've had to like actually kill this, and not proud to say, but I actually had to get a herbicide, because I was reading how to do it natural. You'd have to dig down, they said, like 12 inches and just take out everything, because if there's any of the root systems left, it just goes like wildfire. And it was taking over the yard, it was creeping into the strawberries, it was starting to go into the vegetable beds. And so I just kind of sprayed the areas that were the worst, and we're just staying on top of it with cutting it out. So this is our last area here I'll show you. And these are some blueberry bushes. I think it's Patriot and Duke. And we actually just got these at Walmart, kind of on a lark, like 2 years ago. They had them on sale. And so our soil, what we're experimenting with, because it's so sandy, and when I did a soil test, it's also not acidic soil. And so I've been experimenting putting down sulfur and monitoring the pH, because obviously blueberries want that higher or that lower pH, the acidic. And so they've been doing okay. I've got a special fertilizer for them, and we're just trying to pay special attention to keep them really watered, because they have a shallow root system. So they're susceptible anyway, but with our type of soil we've got, it just doesn't retain water. So trying to put compost on it. It's dry today. We've had tons of hot, dry weather. Probably in the future I'd like to run a soaker hose through here, but so far so good. So that's really it. Like I said, it's small, but we have room to grow. There's a lot of room back over in this area of the yard. This is like a ½ acre on this side of the road, and so I'm not sure if I'll turn this into orchards. We've even talked about getting like a hoop house and kind of moving it over in this area for a winter garden. So we're having a lot of fun.
Welcome to our homestead. I'm Jenna. Today I'm going to start out by taking you into our potager garden. This is a space that was kind of created by the previous owner before we moved in. But when we got the land, it was really overgrown and overtaken, and so I'm really trying to just reclaim this space. So what I've done is try to keep a hold of the really great plants that are in here, and we've been working really hard pulling all the dead stuff and the weeds and the things that just aren't welcome here anymore, and putting down wood chips. To be quite honest, the potager garden is intimidating. It's a really big space and it's so overgrown, but Ben and I decided that this year is the year. We're going to reclaim this space and make it beautiful again. I'm really the type of person that doesn't like to reveal things until they're completed, so this is a little bit hard and painful for me to show you because there's still weeds everywhere. There's still a path that's covered. They need to be taken care of. There's so much mulch that needs to be spread. But I want to give you the progress because we showed it to you a little while back, told you about our potager dream. So we at least wanted to give you an update, show you what's been going on and what the progress has been made. I so wish that I could come out here and take you through a tour of my garden and tell you what all of these plants are. But I didn't plant them myself, and so I actually don't know what a lot of them are. We're spending a lot of time putting them into a plant identification app so that we can learn ourselves how to care for them and what they even are. So I'm gonna take you along though and show you some of the beauty that's in this garden. This particular little mound is an area that I have been working on. There's all kinds of really neat vegetation in here. The bees are absolutely loving this. I did manage to get some onions planted in the potager this spring. Now that I've showed you the potager garden, I'm gonna walk you right over next to where we're at to our orchard. Now we had a really late frost this year, which is unfortunate because that is never good for a fruit tree. Some of them seem to be doing okay and have survived all right, but other ones are just not producing that well. Last year we actually planted several more fruit trees. There were some voids in between some of these established trees that were here when we moved in. And we wanted to make sure that we're completing these rows and that this orchard is as full as we can get it in the space that we have. So out here we have several different kinds of apple trees. We have a couple different kinds of pears. We now have peaches that we planted last year. And I believe we have like a wild cherry tree. I really didn't think that I would get into gardening, but it's quickly becoming one of my favorite places to be. Come on in, I'm gonna show you around. So right up against the fence here, we have pole beans that are gonna climb the actual fencing. These were put in really late because we had hay stacked here and it was just in the way and we didn't get around to doing anything sooner. But over here we have snap peas that are doing pretty well. The kids have confiscated those off of there already. These are just extra tomato plants that didn't have room on our trellises over where the rest of them are. We have cabbage. Over here there's broccoli and cauliflower. We have just a few celery that made it. These are our zucchini, which are looking great. Maybe one of you knows this, but we know that several varieties of zucchini can actually have a leaf pattern that's similar to this, but powdery mildew can look really similar. This actually seems to be like it's probably the pattern of the leaf and the variety, because right next door we have one that is completely fine, and if it were powdery mildew, I believe that it would have spread to all of these already. So, but we definitely have some blooms coming in here, so that's exciting. We picked all kinds of bugs off of our cabbage. That was disappointing. And I'm seeing more, so it looks like we're gonna have to come in here and get a soapy mixture and get that sprayed today. Now, we don't really understand why or the reasoning, what's going on, but we have a couple spots, like right in here, where things just didn't germinate. So I'm saving that space. I'm going to throw some other things in there for our fall garden. This is actually a new addition to the garden this year. We decided to put up some cattle panels as a trellis for our tomatoes to grow on. And they actually seem to be doing really, really great. Down here we have several onions planted. They need to be weeded really badly. I just didn't make it all the way down here yesterday. And now to reveal to you the end of the garden where things have gone terribly bad.
We really have no idea what's going on. In this area of the garden down here, we have planted, I believe, 6 varieties of carrots. So I don't think that it's just that the packet wasn't good. So 6 different varieties of carrots, and we planted them all using the method where you cover it with a board after the ground is already wet. You spread your seeds down and then you cover it with a board until they germinate. And then you uncover it so that they can get the photosynthesis and they start growing. That method, they did not germinate. So at the end of, I think it was several weeks at this point, where we gave up and we're like, okay, clearly those aren't growing. So we started again. We got different carrots, put those in the ground. We planted those just more in a traditional way. We spread them, we lightly covered them, and they didn't germinate either. I think that there's a handful that are in there that did something. We have no idea what our problem is with carrots. If you have some help in carrot world, we would love to know. But we spent time broad forking this year and really getting the ground ready to go for the carrots. They're not doing anything. So apparently we did something terribly wrong.
Really quick, I'm just gonna show you our strawberry bed. Things are growing pretty well. We put a long, narrow strip along the outside of our garden bed, and that's where the strawberries are growing.
Now, ideally, this would all be fenced in as well, but when this needed to happen was right when I was ready to have a baby, and so it just was not gonna happen this year. It's one of those projects that we really wanted to do, but we had to push off. So we did get extra ground cleaned out and ready to plant some extra things because we knew we wanted the space this year, but it is not fenced in, and so I didn't know what to expect or how much hope to have for this garden space. This was intended to be a potato garden, and my potatoes are doing horribly. They are not doing the greatest at all. But at the last minute we decided, hey, we've got some extra cabbage, let's throw some more beans in, and those are doing great. Not sure what the deal is with the potatoes. Apparently they don't want to grow just like the carrots. Not doing very good with the root vegetables.
You can definitely tell the areas where we have worked and the areas where we still need to attack. Here is our first raised bed. This one gets quite a bit of shade during the day, so I do have some lettuces that I just started in there. These are some butternut squash that are coming on. We have our first raised bed, and then we have loads of weeds which are going to be burned off very shortly, and our next bed will be put right in between here. And then I have bed number 3 and 4. So when we get this all complete, we're gonna have 4 raised beds, and there's gonna be 3 trellises just like this that go in between them. Some of the vines are already coming up and they're going across at this point. They're doing really, really well. So I'm excited about how well these are working. Now we designed these in a way that we're hoping that for winter that we can turn these into a cold frame so that we can extend our growing season. You can also look right here and you'll see that there is nothing growing. 3 times now there have been carrots planted in different methods in this bed. Carrots do not like us this year. I don't know what our problem is. I'm wondering if we maybe need to amend our soil. But it's quite disappointing and frustrating because I was hoping to have loads and loads of carrots this year. At the last minute we decided that we wanted to throw some pumpkins and some melons in the ground. So we just reclaimed some of the field. While this isn't really a garden space, it is something that we planted, and I wanted to just give you a quick glimpse. We're turning our traditional farm ground into pasture ground so that we can have steer.
Next time. We'll see you next time, unless we're raptured in the meantime.
That could happen, people.
So we'll see you next week.
Then they will be like, cougars.
See you next week, unless the bombs drop or the good Lord comes back. So if you're watching this and it's the end of the world, this is a message for you. You should have had a garden, loser. And if we're gone, don't forget to feed our chickens. What's up, home preppers? Don't forget to keep your guns always loaded and by the front door. Don't tell anybody where your ammo's buried.
Oh my gosh, Chuck. We should just
Coming
post
to
a
you
video
now from an undisclosed location.
That's right, Mark Levin. From the bowels of an underground bunker beneath a nondescript building, we are tuned into our leader, Mark Levin.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.